homeschooling, we can lose sight of the importance of the call that we have and the value of that. But more than that, we can get lost in the day-to-day, like, is this the best? So in your life and in this place, maybe now all of a sudden because of COVID you're housebound, and maybe things are shifting a little bit, or maybe you're having to homeschool and it wasn't what you had in mind. Trusting that the Lord is directing your steps and that He is working all things together for good for those of us who love Him and are called according to His purpose. I think homeschool families are just special people. I think God picked you, He handpicked you, and said, no, I need your child, and I'm calling you to raise this child and to prepare them. Well, let's talk about an encouraging word today with teaching tips. Sometimes, especially now in the age of COVID, we may find ourselves in places we didn't anticipate being. So as I speak today, I'm going to speak a little bit as a voice, an older voice of experience, okay? Kind of fatherly advice to parents who maybe just starting the homeschool journey. Maybe you're in a situation, you've been homeschooling, but you're in a situation, maybe you're just kind of wondering, is this the best that life has? You know, I remember when we had 9 kids at home, and by the way, if you don't know, my name is Randy, and I am the VP of Marketing here at Masterbooks. This is Brittany Pratt. She is my daughter. She is also the publicist here at Masterbooks, and right now the professional order stapler
Happy to do it.
To help everybody work things out.
Seeing all of your names come through the papers. I'm like, oh, here's so-and-so. Oh, here's so-and-so.
I know, it's a ball to go through the orders, and you're like, oh. And we even see the questions that you're asking in the group, and we're like, oh, that question was answered. This is how they decided to go. Yeah.
That's so funny. So, hey, to everybody jumping in on the app. Hey to Lauren and Jessica over in the Facebook Live. If you guys comment your questions and comments, we'll get to questions a little bit later on. Stephanie jumping in on Facebook.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. So maybe, we had 9 kids at home, and Kristen was a brilliant mind. And
who's Kristen?
Kristen is actually my wife, Brittany's mom. We had 9 kids, and Kristen was bound for great things academically, and she had an easy in into a big firm, and you name it. And the Lord said, He wanted her to be a mom and homeschool. And the struggle of, you have these expectations of what life is supposed to be, what it's supposed to offer, and then it seems like, I remember I was traveling and I was going to new towns and everything else, and she's home with the kids, and you guys would all be sick, and it was just like, this is life. This is what life has to offer. And sometimes in homeschooling, we can lose sight of the importance of the call that we have and the value of that. But more than that, we can get lost in the day-to-day, like, is this the best? And there's a story in the Bible that is probably my favorite, and it's the story of Joseph in the book of Genesis. Joseph has this dream where all of his brothers are bowing down to him, and he, being the youngest, he tells everybody, hey, I have this dream, you guys all bow down to me. And they didn't really like that, which I can imagine if Elijah came and told all you guys, bow down to me. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, and I can even picture maybe his brothers showing, what is it called, putting him in his place? An attitude adjustment.
Yeah, a little bit of an attitude adjustment. Sure, bud, why don't you go?
Yeah. And Joseph's father even favored him, and so he gives him this amazing coat of many colors, and he's splendid. So not only does he think he's splendid, but now Dad thinks he's splendid too. And so what do? Joseph has this dream, he's on the top of the world, and all of a sudden they decide to take matters into their own hands. They beat him up, and they throw him in a well. And that place right there where Joseph is in the well, for Joseph, think of what that was like, right? I mean, you've just been betrayed by your family. Your wounds are painful. All you see around you is the stones and the bricks and the wet and the slime. It's hopeless, right? Your family's not going to come looking for you. They just put you there, and you're in the bottom of this well, and all you see is what's around you, because that's all we can see. One of my favorite terms, for when I was in a spot once when I was younger, and I was like, Lord, you call this deliverance? Like, this is what you're the best you got to provide deliverance for me. And he led me to this story because all I can think of is Joseph, his attempts even to get himself out of the well, right? And while he's frustrated, hopeless, broken, God is rejoicing because at this moment, Joseph has been moved from his place of comfort, and he's beginning the journey to the destiny that God has for him. And you let that set in, because sometimes we're in this place where it's like, it's hopeless. Like, it's slimy, I've been betrayed, I'm broken, or maybe I'm just stuck, and I don't see any way out of this. And in my own human flesh, sometimes where the Lord says, fear not, for I am with thee, for I will hold thee with thy victorious right hand. I'll harden thee to difficulties. When he tells us to trust in him, that he'll direct our steps, and even though a man makes his plans, the Lord directs his path. He's telling us this because we can't see the big picture. All we can see is what's around us, the bottom of the well, where God knows, hey, tomorrow you're going to start a new journey, and you're going to go to Egypt. They're going to sell you into slavery, and it's even going to look worse than it did today. And I can imagine, this is the way my life goes. I wore my fingers out trying to get myself out of the well. The next day the brothers come, they take him out of the well, they sell him into slavery. I imagine the rope around his neck as they're dragging him to Egypt behind the camels. Again, I would have been fighting and resisting and thinking, I need to escape this. This can't possibly be what God has for me. Again, God is saying, Joseph, don't fight it. I'm moving you to a place that I have for you. And all of this is part of the journey to get you where you're supposed to be and prepare for you. And so then, he goes to Egypt, and he ends up at Potiphar's house. And that's a good gig. I mean, at least, I'm not making bricks, right? I'm just keeping the house. And of course, Joseph being who he is, he earns esteem and everything else, but Potiphar's wife takes a liking to him and ends up some nasty things, accusing him of things, and he ends up in jail. And you got to think again, God, what are you doing? You give me this vision of who I am, the person that I am, and what I'm supposed to become. And all that's happened since that time is I've been in a well, I've been dragged to this country, now I've been falsely accused, and I'm in prison. And the Lord holds him there. And again, well, Joseph is frustrated and broken and trying, I would be thinking, how can I escape prison? Because I don't belong in prison. I'm an innocent man. God puts him in contact with a couple of people in Pharaoh's household. And eventually, somebody remembers that Joseph can interpret dreams, and so he brings him to Pharaoh. Joseph interprets a dream about what's to come in Egypt. And the next thing you know, Pharaoh is giving him a signet ring and says, I have put you over all the land of Egypt. You are second in charge of Egypt. From the bottom of the well to second in charge of Egypt. Now, in our own life, because we've lived enough life to experience it, this is the way it works. Sometimes God calls us to things that they just don't make sense. It isn't that exciting. It is bottom well experience. And in that process, even in the bad days of homeschooling, right? It's iron against iron, sharpening, and it's just, oh my goodness, is this what life was supposed to be like? Like when I was a little kid and I was imagining how grand life was going to be, the cars I would drive, the family I would have. I got to tell you, 12-passenger van probably wasn't in my bucket list for when I became an adult, but I could rock a 12-passenger van.
Good old behemoth.
It was a behemoth, but man, we could do some things. I don't think we ever actually got air but we came pretty close a couple times.
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah. I even drove it through the front of the church once. Anyways.
You did drive it through the church.
Okay, I slid
Drive
through the
through
church. That was fun. That was a fun call to make to the board. Hey guys, I just kind of drove to church. Okay. It wasn't so
Sunday
bad.
school room. God.
It wasn't completely gone. It was just the front of the, it was just,
He hit black ice and the van slid into the side of the building.
but I was safe. And the van hardly had a dent, even though the building.
The building was in rough shape.
Okay, anyways, I had to go.
Anyways.
Okay. So that may not be what we had in mind, but you know what? God is working in our lives. He says that He works all things together for good for those of us who love Him and are called according to His purpose. And even today, if maybe all of our dreams aren't being fulfilled, trusting Him, saying, Lord, you know my heart. You know the dreams and desires I have. And I've watched Kristen be really faithful. That verse, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not unto your own understanding, acknowledge Him in all your ways, and He will direct your path. That's like her verse since we were kids when we started dating. So when she was 13, that was her favorite verse, and I think it's held true. No matter what the Lord is carrying you through, not leaning to your own understanding, but trusting in Him to direct your paths. And over the years, I've seen Him replace in her what she thought she was going to have and wanted. He's given greater than she ever could have imagined. Me. That's funny. I'm sorry. Can't stop laughing.
I can't laugh or say anything either way because that sounds horrible.
That's just funny. I can't stop laughing. Because if...
Are you good?
I don't know. That just strikes me as real funny.
Keep it together, man.
Wow. Sometimes I cry, sometimes I laugh.
That was really random.
We cried, we laughed, we cried, you moved
You
me,
moved
Bob.
me, Bob.
Okay. So in your life and in this place, maybe now all of a sudden because of COVID you're housebound, and maybe things are shifting a little bit, or maybe you're having to homeschool and it wasn't what you had in mind. Trusting that the Lord is directing your steps and that He is working all things together for good for those of us who love Him and are called according to His purpose. And that even if we had to set aside some of our dreams and desires for a while, and I've been through this a couple of times where I couldn't imagine, like, Lord, what are you doing? Like I had everything that I wanted, and suddenly it feels like You've said, no, it's time to go back in the well, and took that away, and then suddenly I'm in the well and I'm in a whole new journey. And as I've been through 2 or 3 of these well experiences, where now even landing here with Master Books has just been an incredible, it's my dream job to be able to support the homeschool community, to market homeschool curriculum. And so I just want to encourage you as a family that wherever God has you and whatever your scenery looks like right now around you, if you're in a well experience, or if you're behind the donkey, or you're in the prison, or you're sitting next to Pharaoh, God has a plan and He's working it. And as a homeschool family, you now join a very elite group. Right? I think homeschool families are just special people. I think God picked you, He handpicked you, and said, no, I need your child, and I'm calling you to be to raise this child and to prepare them for what the Lord has to come. Okay. So with that, I hope that somebody found that message encouraging, and if there's any questions or comments, we'll just do them.
Some comments. Jennifer said, I left full-time ministry and am now a full-time homeschool mom. Sometimes it's easy to believe I gave up the higher calling, but I know God wants to do something in me and through me in the lives of my children, through this less glamorous work. In this age, it certainly isn't lacking for challenge. And then Ariel said, oh my goodness, yes, this is a perfect, and I absolutely feel the same way. Christian said, thank you, I really needed this today. I'm so thankful God led us to Master Books. Irina said, it also reminds me that there's a reason for everything in life. There's always a good side to any bad situation. Trust God, even if we don't understand why certain things have to happen. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yes.
And then a quick question from Alden asked, how do you get past the frustration of being behind? My 9-year-old did Abeka for several years and did great, but when we threw a baby in the mix, it was too much.
Just start where you are. I would start where I am. I wouldn't worry. That's a season, right? And he can catch up. So you just start where you are and move forward. Seasons happen. There will be seasons where you go a little bit faster and seasons where there are delays. So don't spend a lot of time on twaddle. So, you can kind of streamline your schooling experience a little bit to catch up, to move things through a little faster. So maybe pick your core subjects and do just a little bit extra, as much as he can handle and still enjoy. I think masterbooks is a great way to catch up and accelerate, because we don't have a lot of that twaddle or busy work. So that would be my recommendation.
So Tella said, Brittany, are you sitting next to Pharaoh? Just teasing Grant. What is this?
Pharaoh. Would Pharaoh have a cane or something?
Oh, like
I just picture Pharaoh to have a stick.
that's what
I guess that was Moses
Okay.
that had the stick that turned into a snake.
Sarah Ann, good to see you this afternoon, our faithful Facebook Live viewer. I don't know why I keep doing that today. All this nervous energy. She said, hi everyone, this is a great message for today. Thank you for all you do to continue to do for us. Paola said, thank you so much for that. I needed your words of encouragement and wisdom.
Awesome. Well, we are having fun at Masterbooks. We have a lot of products that are out of stock. As quickly as they come in, a lot of them are 2 to 3 weeks out. So when they go out of stock, most of the time they're already at the printer and we're waiting for a delivery to come in. So we would encourage you, if you really need to rush and get started with something, to purchase the digital copy. Those are priced at 30%. And that will allow you to kind of get started. You could just print off a few lessons if you needed to do that. But for new homeschool families, we'd like to encourage you. A lot of vendors are behind or out of product right now because July was insanity. And nobody could have anticipated the influx of new families. Excuse me. So what I would say, don't panic because your start date may be a week or two. You can just start schooling even without curriculum. You can start reading. You can start some field trips. Go visit some local destinations. You can do a number of things that just in lieu of school, even if you don't, that's a tool. Curriculum is a tool. As soon as the tool comes in, you can use it. In the meantime, you can be doing preparation. And you could still be practicing handwriting, you could be reading, just a number of things like that. So it feels like, oh my goodness, my kids aren't starting school on the day that everybody else is. This is terrible. No, they can still start school, just they don't have all of their curriculum in yet. Hopefully that helps somebody. All right, anything else? Let's see.
Sherry just had a quick question. Is Right Brain flashcard enough for a second grader? Do I need to also get flashcards that don't have the answers?
I think in that you could even put your thumb over it or your finger over it or a piece of paper over the answer if you wanted to. So the idea of a Right Brain flashcard is our brains will complete a picture. So what you're doing is you're putting the completed picture into the right brain, and then that way when they're presented with a problem, their brain looks and thinks, oh, this was the picture and I'm going to complete the picture. So I think you could easily, I don't have any here, I think you could easily cover up part of the answer if you wanted to do some drill like that as well.
And just said, God bless you all, Master Books. I've been covering you all in prayer. We are also praying for all of you as you are about to start your new homeschool year. The 2021 homeschool year is about to be underway. It is already for some of you. So we're keeping y'all in our prayers that it goes smoothly and y'all have a blessed year.
Yes. All right.
That's what I got.
Good. This is a short one today.
I know.
So, well, hopefully it was an encouragement to you, and we will continue to provide updates on. We have to start putting the update in the app as well, as far as what the warehouse, where we're caught up to, so that everybody knows. If you haven't gotten an order sometime or an email or whatever, it comes from New Leaf Publishing Group, so be sure to check your spam, because a lot of times the tracking emails will go into spam. And if sometimes when we say that an order, we're caught up to like the 27th, just every now and then an order will get mixed into the next day or something like that. So those are approximations, but our crew is. We're just doing. Last year we didn't have anywhere near the volume we did, and we were way behind her.
Way behind her.
Than we are today.
We were so way behind her.
Yeah. It just sounds fun,
Way behind her.
Way behind her.
We were so way behind her last year.
We're not.
So 2019.
We're not anywhere near as behind this year. So I think we're about 6 business days. Where we typically say 7 to 10 business days, I think, in this season. So we're staying right in that parameter, and that's awesome. Yeah. All right. Good. All right, guys, God bless. Hey, have a fantastic weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.